Midday update of the U.S. stock market and Rich Pause for Critical Point, Friday, March 7, 1:42 p.m. Eastern Time. The market was weak this morning, and Trump was still saying some things they're going to do. Some Trump people were saying things. Market didn't seem to care. If it was optimistic, they left it alone. If it was pessimistic, they actually sold. So overall, they didn't like what was being said. Trump may even do sanctions against Russia. Everybody thinks that's a twist, and they're thinking, how many twists and turns do we have to deal with here? The interesting thing is, Chairman Powell, however, was out speaking and basically said that he's not going to do anything until Trump cleans some things up, gives him some clarification so we know where we're going, what are we doing. And the stock market seemed to like that. And the interesting thing is, I showed you this morning that the S&P 500 had a lower target down around 56.49 or 89, I guess it was. Yeah, 89. And it dipped below it, went above it. It showed some intraday respect here for those three lines over the past few days here. And it's back up to it. We're now, instead of being down, 60 points or something, we're up 18 points in the S&P 500. So it was up a little this morning, straight down, straight up. We may yet see they want to sell it by the end of the day because of the weekend. They may not, though. The model's favoring that they've done enough selling. It can be stable into the close. Then next week, we got to start all over again. They may want to sell it again. But right at the moment, the model's showing a greater probability that the market will actually be up a little during Monday, not down. I don't know how well that's going to work in this day and age, or what we're dealing with, news flipping here every 15 minutes. But at the moment, I like this turnaround. I like the respect to these price levels. I think they've sold these three major stock indexes below their 200-day averages. Or I'm sorry, the Dow Jones is not below its 200-day average. But I think they've sold the S&P 500 and NASDAQ below it enough that they feel a little more comfortable. So I'm holding out that we're going to get a bounce next week, and then we will reevaluate of whether to sell it or not. Is it time to chill out for a little while? I still don't have any major buy signals coming up anytime soon, I don't believe. I'm still nervous of much more downside to come, and every day there's been more and more Wall Street firms saying they're getting more and more interested in people saying, where do I get out? How do I reduce? How do I insure or protect? Things like that, okay? They don't necessarily want to sell, but they're just nervous and feel they should. And every day the economic indicators are deteriorating. And Treasury Secretary Besson come out and basically said there is no Trump put. What he means by that is they're not going to do anything to protect the stock market from dropping. They're not going to do anything to stop the economy from dropping. I think he's actually saying that hoping that people will then say, well, gee, they're not that worried about it. They're that confident. Maybe everything's okay, okay? Well, I watched how the stock market behaved to that comment, and it didn't seem to care for it all that much, okay? So, I feel like somebody's trying to prop this market up. But at any rate, I will start over again next week. Obviously, like every week, we have to take another look at everything. But right at the moment, I'm kind of encouraged that the market can bounce maybe a little this afternoon, or it just hangs in there, and then we'll get some bounce next week. But I'm still concerned in coming weeks the market will probably go lower still. So if it trades below the low of today at 56.66.29, if it does that today, that's not a good sign. It won't be a good sign next week either. But I suppose I could get one last little dip early next week and then up. But just looks like to me it's time for somebody to take a chance of buying this market and getting it back up into, say, the 58.33 area to fill a gap that was made, yesterday to the downside, to put it back up there at least, and maybe even a little better correction. It just feels like they ought to buy this 200-day average type stuff, give it a little bounce, and then we have to look out when it goes back below that 200-day average. All hell can break loose, okay? So we'll discuss that more next week. But anyways, looks like they kind of washed some things out this morning. How accurate I'm going to be for the rest of the day of saying it's going to be stable now, that may be a dangerous thing, okay? But at any rate, that's the way it looks to me, is just maybe it's going to be stable for the rest of the day, and they leave and head out for the weekend, the traders, that is. Past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. Have a great day. Thank